Welcome to the Weaver Sews. I'm Daryl Lancaster. The next step in creating my drop-shouldered tunic that will eventually get a hood is to add a kangaroo pocket. The need for roomy pockets in any garment is very clear from student reactions during classes. The tunic just lends itself to a large soft pocket across the front, one that both hands can comfortably rest in and hold the important detritus of life. There is a pattern included for a kangaroo pocket in my 700 and 1700 tunic. There are placement lines printed on the pattern front. If you are using your own pattern and would like to add a pocket like this, take any commercial garment, like a sweatshirt, that has a kangaroo pocket and trace the shape. Figure out the position that best suits your shape and the garment dimension, and what you might want to store in it. In the case of this tunic front, I have large blocks of color, which intersect each other in the warp and weft. It was important to me that I matched the patterning so the pocket blends in. When I cut out the front panel for the tunic, I carefully made thread tacks all along the pocket placement line to help line up the pocket. By noting the match points for the pocket on the front of the garment, you can overlay the pattern for the pocket and trace the design lines for both warp and weft directly onto the pocket pattern. That allows you to find the best match for the pocket. The pocket itself is lined edge to edge. You can use a lining fabric, it won't show. I used a mid-weight linen, which I'll also use to line the yoke. I chose not to interface the pocket since I want it to remain soft and fluid on the garment front. With right sides together, pin the lining section to the pocket. Starting off, hello, bye. With right sides together, pin the lining section to the pocket. Use a 5/8 inch or 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Starting just off the center of the lower edge, machine stitch around the perimeter of the pocket. Pivot on the lower corners by creating a couple of tiny stitches diagonally in the corners. Turn the stitch length down to nothing, leave the needle in, lift the presser foot and rotate the pocket 45 degrees. Lower the presser foot and take a couple tiny stitches in the corner to reinforce. Pivot the fabric to start stitching in the new direction. Don't forget to return the stitch length back to normal. Leave about a 4-inch or 10 centimeter opening at the lower edge so you can turn the pocket right side out. Trim the corners and grade the seam allowances except along the opening at the lower edge. To grade the seam allowances, trim the lining to 1/4 inch or 6 millimeter and the hand-woven fabric to 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter. Turn the pocket right side out through the opening using a point turner to help work out the corners. Give the pocket a good press. Following the match points, carefully pin the pocket to the tunic front, leaving the diagonal sides open. Top stitch the pocket across the top, lower sides, and across the bottom, which will close the opening created for turning. To top stitch, use a slightly longer stitch length. I've used 2 threads together to make more of a statement. Do not backstitch. Instead, leave long tails, bring them to the back, and tie them off. Thread a needle and bury them back into the pocket seam allowances. Hi, this is Daryl from the future. After we finished installing the Kangaroo Pocket with all of the top stitching, I looked at it carefully and decided that I much preferred to hand sew the Kangaroo Pocket on instead of the top stitching. One of the issues with top stitching is that for every row of machine stitching you actually put on the garment, you're adding a row of stability. And I felt like the Kangaroo Pocket on this bulky mohair needed to have more of a fluid look on the front of the garment. So I took out the top stitching and I sewed it very carefully with very heavily waxed beeswax thread onto the front of the garment, making sure all the plaid lines matched up. And here's the result. And now you can get back to the end of the video. And there we have a perfectly matched Kangaroo Pocket. The weather is starting to chill here in New Jersey, and I can't wait to finish my tunic. Next time, we will be attaching the front to the back with a separate yoke. I'm Daryl Lancaster for the Weaver Sews.